What is up, beautiful people? You at home, in front of your screen, and all around the world. Today, we have a really special interview. And you're probably asking yourself, who is this guy? I go by Montesley Jacobs, or Monty for short. So, today we're going to be interviewing the very woman that gave birth not to only the Sea of Many Rivers, but this amazing platform that we have right here, this podcast with Nanz. Hi, Nanz. How you
Hello.
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
That's good.
How does it feel to be on that side?
I don't like being in the hot seat, so not
Why is
really.
that? You prefer this side?
Yeah, I do.
You
Very
prefer
much so.
asking all the questions and watching all your guests like buckle in their seats.
Exactly.
Well, it's your turn now.
Unfortunately, yes.
Well, it's unfortunate. I know a lot of people don't really know where your nickname came from. A lot of people probably think that's your actual name. Do you want to tell the people how you got Nanz?
Yeah, so my real name is Nandhini.
Mm-hmm.
But I think growing up, especially in primary school, the kids often just called me Nanz.
Why is that?
Maybe it was just an easier, shorter form of my name. I don't know. Um, but it kind of stuck, going into high school. I moved up here to Joburg, and in Durban, everybody could say my name, so it was still okay. My name was still pronounced fine.
It was
And
proper.
it was proper. But when I moved here, everybody kind of butchered my name.
What did that sound like?
It sounded like something like Nandhini
Oh
or Nandhini or Nandhini.
Oh my gosh.
And then eventually I was like, guys, please, can we just call me Nanz?
I feel like I had a similar encounter as well because
Yeah.
I go by Monty now, but
Yeah.
before then I used to go by Linda, and you can only imagine the amount of times I got Linda, and it's even worse like if I had to go for work and stuff,
Yeah.
and then my name is not Montesley or Monty, then they're like Linda, and then I come up and then they're like, is
Is
this
you?
yes, and I'm like, oh sorry, I should have put my other name, it's easier. So it just stuck, and
Yeah.
then now I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna go by Monty, which is actually weird because a couple of years before, I think I was maybe like 13 or 14 years old, I went to like my mom's work. They had like this bring your
Kid Day.
kid day, yeah.
Yeah.
And then one of her co-workers was like, we're gonna call you Monty because I said my full name and shit. And I'm like, no, I don't like it. And then funny enough, I think it was 2019, yeah, 2019, I was doing a gig, and the lady that got me the work was like, oh, we'll call you Monty. And I was like, oh, that's so cool, it's nice. And
Yeah,
then I
keep
only
it.
realized, I think in 2020 it was like, that lady actually said Monty, and I just completely ignored her. I'm so sorry. If you remember me, I'm so sorry.
Rude
But
pudding.
yeah, rude pudding. Hella rude pudding. Um, I'm so sorry. So, who is Nance?
So Nanz is an incredibly shy person by nature, an introvert actually.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I think everybody thinks I'm this extrovert when they see me dancing on stage or performing somewhere. Everybody believes, oh, I'm probably robust, but I'm actually not. I'm the complete opposite. I'm very shy.
No one would have guessed it. Not even I would, because I don't think any introverted person would, first of all, be doing this whole podcast situation and putting themselves on the spot like that.
Yeah, I think, well, I chose to do so because I believe that the more you kind of step out of your comfort zone, the more you kind of grow and you learn about yourself. And I think that's why I embarked on this journey.
So, is it like a challenge that you wanted to do? Like, you wanted to challenge yourself in that regard?
So, not really. I think the podcast idea wasn't mine initially. Um, Podcast came a little bit later. The whole idea of doing the interviews was based on the idea that we did the Sea of Many Rivers, and I didn't really get the opportunity to get to know the artists and the key role players, the choreographers, and that. And I felt like I needed to sit down and chat with them. The show happened in 2019, and very soon after that, COVID had hit,
Yeah,
and so
very soon.
there wasn't an opportunity. And so in 2020 or late 2020, I thought of the idea, and I pitched it to Sheldon, and while I was pitching the idea to Sheldon, he said to me, "This is great. Let's do a podcast." And I was like, "A podcast? Who said anything about a
You were
podcast?
just like, I just want to sit down and speak to the
I want to
people.
sit on a couch, have a cup of coffee, and maybe just like film that and get that in." But when Sheldon said podcast, I was kind of taken aback, and I mean, I said yes at the time, but for days after that, I was like, am I actually going to be able to do this?
You're actually
Like,
going
do
to
I
be
have it?
stepping out of your introverted shell.
Yeah, I questioned myself a lot. And I think when you guys had come to do the intro, um, I kind of felt like I had it.
Yeah.
Like I could do
Which you
this.
do. You do.
I hope so.
You do. It's quite fun
I hope so.
shooting all the episodes and watching them afterwards and just be
Yeah,
like, this is so cool.
incredibly fun too.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So, as Nance, are you like a colorful person in terms of like what is your favorite color and how do you view that color to be like impactful to you as a person?
So my favorite color is actually the color that I'm wearing. It's like a bottle
Emerald
green.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not generally a colorful person. This is just a color that I like. I mean, I would wear it in very special on very special occasions. So I'd wear an item.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Like this one.
Yeah, like this one. Um, but no, I'm not a colorful person. I'm actually quite a plain individual. I'm a tomboy by nature, so I'm a jeans and t-shirt kind of girl. And on an ordinary day, you'll probably catch me in a green track pants, a tattered green track pants, and a t-shirt,
Just being very, very comfortable.
and very low key.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
why I'm.
cool. So you mentioned you were tomboy. How was that like growing up as like a kid?
It was fun. It
Really?
was fun. Yeah, I mean, I never really, I wouldn't say I didn't get on with the girls, growing up, but because I was such a tomboy and I was involved in sport and I was an athlete, I used to run both short distance and long distance. And I spent a lot of time outdoors. I used to cycle as a kid as well. It was so much of fun. It was
You were
incredible.
really like, which is weird because again, introvert doing all of those things.
Yeah.
Were you did you use those as like ways to get out of your shell?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I think cycling, my dad got me into cycling, and he'd come from work every day. He'd bought me a bike. He'd come from work every day in the afternoon. And he'd take me onto the road and we'd cycle for hours. I mean, he'd just sit there and watch me just cycle. He taught me how to cycle. It took a few minutes. And
So you're like a natural.
hopefully, I think so. I
Michael Phelps
mountain
of the
bike.
bicycle.
I mean, I during lockdown, I was mountain biking. So
Oh, that
yeah.
must have been really like nice and peaceful because no one was out.
yeah, exactly. And also, I'm an adrenaline junkie. So I kind of like that zest of energy that you get from it.
Again, I'm just like, guys, I'm like is what's happening to me right now. None of what you are saying is anything I would have ever guessed.
Yeah.
Which is so cool because I mean it goes back to that saying don't judge a book by its cover.
100%.
But it I guess it's just like wow. Like never ever thought of any of what you just said is what you actually did and love doing.
Yeah, I love doing it.
And in the same adrenaline type situation, what else would you do that you haven't done yet?
So I'm really looking forward to not skydiving, bungee jumping. Skydiving is something I've already done, and it was the most amazing experience that I've ever had. It's something you can't even explain. It's it's just one of the most beautiful things I've
That
done.
is so dope.
And bungee jumping. So, yeah, so my siblings and I decided that we were going to bungee jump Soweto Towers, which is only 50 meters. And I keep on contemplating. I mean, 50 meters is not that high, right?
Yeah, it's not that high from the bottom when you look up. I'm sure when you're there, it's like
Yeah, but
about.
why do you want to just do a 50-meter jump? I mean, if you do something like that, like a bungee jump, you want to go the highest.
Yeah, but we don't have anything as.
We do.
Which is where?
Blauwgrens in Neisner is the highest bungee in the world. It's 210 meters of a drop.
Oh, there she's going, people. Find Nanz at insert that name at the bottom because I don't know how to say it. Wow, you actually want to jump that?
Yeah, I think it would be a great experience. I love experience. I think experience is everything.
Yeah, that is true. That
And
is true.
and if you take anything, I mean, if you think back at your life, you think about your memories and your experiences at large, and I mean, what better way to kind of live
Yeah,
life
to
to the
experiment,
best?
yeah, and find things that intrigue you, like how you
Yeah.
adrenaline junkie.
I want to be that old person one day that sits back and that thinks back and says, well, I did so many things that as an elderly person,
Yeah.
imagine.
You want to have so many stories to tell.
Stories to tell, yeah.
So many stories to tell for your grandkids, their children.
Yeah, maybe not grandkids, but people in general.
What do you mean not grandkids? You don't want any grandkids?
I don't know.
Are you still like on the fence about it?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
maybe.
Well,
I'm still young, so give me
no,
some
not
time.
now. You said when
But
you're
I
old.
mean,
When
yeah,
you're
but
older.
still, like, it's not a thought I want to have right now
Oh,
either.
okay. I see. No
Yeah.
problem. So in I know when you're doing all of these adrenaline things and like everything is just going crazy. Do you like? I know this is a weird question, but when you're doing these things and you're like, oh, if something goes wrong, am I gonna miss my favorite food and like my favorite anything? Do you like have a favorite food?
Never. I think everybody should live every day like it's their last
Yeah.
day. And when you're experiencing something like that, I think you never ever I've never ever thought about that. I never ever think of something going wrong
Yeah.
or anything in the negative. You're just there, you're living in the moment.
You just
And I
having,
think when you're doing something so daring, you kind of feel closest to yourself.
and you feel. I'm assuming you feel like more alive than anything.
Exactly that. You feel most alive, more alive than you've ever felt.
I think the most
Daring.
daring thing I've ever done was maybe jump off my wall or my roof,
Sure.
which is sad.
You said it.
But I meant this as a joke because I actually do want to do a lot of like daring stuff like shark diving, skydiving,
Oh,
bungee
yeah.
jumping,
Shark diving's
paragliding.
amazing.
I want to go skiing, like sand surfing.
Yeah.
I want to do things that I never ever thought I would.
You could do.
Yeah, like I could do, or even have access to do.
Yeah, because it's like breaking an internal barrier.
That is true.
Yeah.
It's like
It's an
actually
achievement.
that is one hell of a quote. Adrenaline is breaking an internal barrier. We'll quote Nanz at the bottom for that one because it came from you.
Yeah,
So-
hopefully.
So a little birdie told me that you really, really, really love stale chips or knickknacks.
Yeah, I do actually.
Why? How so?
I don't really know why. I mean, it just tastes better still. Yeah.
How many people is gonna comment in the please comment in the bottom here who thinks who who thinks that eating stale chips is better than it when it's fresh? Please comment down. I really want to see that, please.
It's amazing, Monty. You should try it. You should try it. I mean, that stale knickknacks as well as stale like flings. It's so good. You just let the chips melt in your mouth and it's just
Okay, how many people in your house eats stale knickknacks and flings?
none. Maybe that's why I like it.
Because
it lasts
Because you know no one is gonna touch it. Nobody.
Yeah, and because I eat 5 a day, I mean, how long will that last me?
That's even well. That could last you so much longer because
Exactly.
it's only 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you like actually only eat 5? Like it's like, or do you
I-
just like take a handful and then you just go?
No, I may even just pick up a few. It may not even be 5. I think it's a maximum of 5. But with my 3 fingers, I pick up as many as I can. It's not
And then
more
you
than
just. Why only such a small portion?
You know, it's unhealthy eating junk food, and it's part of my cheat.
Why is it part of? What do you mean by part of your cheat?
So, um, so I've been intermittent fasting.
Oh, so this is
Yes.
for how long? How many hours a day do you?
So you fast 16 hours, and you can only eat within an 8-hour window period.
So as soon as that 8 hour come, you're like,
Not really. I think initially maybe like you're counting down the minutes
and
to
you're
the
like,
8
hey,
hours.
it's about to happen, guys. I'm going stale. I'm going stale, guys.
Oh, but as time goes on, you kind of forget to eat.
Yeah,
Your body's
yeah.
not craving the food like you would
Yeah.
initially, and you get used to the idea.
That's crazy. I might actually try it because, funny enough, a lot of the things that I now eat or tried, I'm like, wow, it's so crazy. And I tell people, you need to try this. Like, for example, I eat my eggs with bacon and then I put maple syrup on both.
Yeah, that
And
must
then
be
I-
yummy.
Then I eat. Well, now people are like, are you crazy? And I'm like, I love it because of the whole savory and like
Sweet.
sweetness. So I'm like, it's so good. And then, funny enough, Emilio was like, bro, you crazy. Why would you eat this? And then he tried it. And he was like, bruh, I'm never eating eggs the same way ever again. And I'm like, maybe I should try it. And then I'll be like, okay,
Yeah,
you're
change.
onto something.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
onto something.
Yeah.
So everybody, if you want to send Nanz a gift, just open up like a bag of knickknacks, let it go stale for about a day or two, seal it
Three
up with
days. 3 days.
3 days exactly. This is like the ingredients. Seal it up with one of those fancy sealing machines, and then send it. I will not give you the address. We'll just
Not here.
you'll just have to comment down here. Where do I send it? And then you must comment down here, and then you'll send it. And then she'll be able to enjoy those lovely staled knickknacks. Is it specifically just knickknacks, or is it like
Cheese. It's a cheesy one because now they're different flavors also.
yeah? So
Yeah.
you want to keep it to the most
Original.
most original flavor.
Yeah, you must
Cheesy
be true
knickknacks.
to yourself, right?
You gotta be true. So where I know you mentioned that you in the arts and you like did drama and everything. So where did your love for being a creative and Kathak start?
I think, well, my parents are very artsy. My dad's a musician and a singer. My mom also used to sing. They were part of a band at some stage in my life.
What was that band called?
I don't know. I
You
can't
never-
remember.
you never
I
asked?
was too little, and I'm sure it was mentioned afterwards, but I seriously cannot remember. But yeah, so I come from a very arty family, and so my love for being a creative started when I was very young. I was born into a very artsy home. Both my parents are in the arts. My mom was a vocalist at some point. My dad's a vocalist and a musician. My mom also played an Indian classical instrument called the sitar.
Is that the one where they're sitting down and
Yeah,
is it the instrument that faces up? Sort of it looks like a guitar.
yeah,
but-
yeah, exactly
Oh.
that one. Yeah, so yeah, so my love for the arts started all the way back then. I was exposed to it from a young age, and yeah, gave birth to what I love doing most, dancing.
Which is what you doing? What you still doing?
What I still do.
Is this you in your room or like the studio where you still dance, or is it?
Initially, it started off in the lounge in front of the TV. And then obviously later when I joined a school, it was in the studio. But I mean, I could dance anywhere. I could dance outside. I could dance in my bedroom. I mean, even now I'd come from work and put on some music and I'd dance
And
in
you
front
just
of my
dance?
dresser. Yeah.
And that's enough for
And
you.
more than enough.
It's just more than enough.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So when you dancing, do you? I know you mentioned that you feel closest to yourself when you're listening to Gregorian chants as well. So
Yeah.
when you dance, is that the similar? Is it similar
Yeah,
feeling?
I think it's a sort of a spiritual feeling when you feel, that close to yourself, or you're kind of being true to yourself in a sense as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I listen to music as well as when I dance, it's exactly the same.
Exactly. Cool. So within dance, is Kathak the only thing you ever wanted to like do as a dancer?
Um, Growing up, I think all I ever wanted to do was dance. I didn't even think of Kathak being the genre that I wanted to dance in. All I wanted to do was dance. I mean, my mom said I started dancing at around the age of 4. And I remember starting Bharatanatyam, which is a South Indian classical dance art form. But it was very short lived. I was very young, and the discipline with Bharatanatyam at the time, or still is, it's quite stringent and it's heavy discipline. And perhaps I wasn't ready as a 4-year-old.
Oh yeah, that is. Is the discipline and like strict nature of it like similar to like ballet?
Correct. And it goes across the board for any classical art form.
Oh yeah, okay.
It has to be, if you don't follow a discipline, then you don't really get the true essence of what you're trying to learn.
True, true.
And-
I think. Sorry to cut you off there. I think. Was it? It was one of the interviews that you also had where, the person mentioned that a lot of the people would teach Bollywood disguised as Kathak and then pass it off as that. I don't know if.
Yeah, it could have been Pravika. Maybe Pravika.
I think. Yeah, I
Sindhu.
think so. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Well, I remember.
Yeah.
So
You're
so
paying attention.
yeah. So you mentioning that if you don't really stick and study with
Fully commit to it.
yeah, then it's gonna come off as that, and that's something.
Not necessarily,
Yeah.
but maybe you don't really get the true essence of it if you don't
Okay.
stick to it. Yeah.
And within Kathak, what is the main like objective of the dance genre?
With the school of Kathak that I was with, it was mainly to do with grace and speed. and footwork. So yeah, so it was about telling a story.
Like what type of stories would
English.
is it ones that is already written, or is it stories that you basically come up with yourself, like how you would if you had to make up your own choreography?
Yeah, so Kathak initially was a temple art. That's how Kathak started. And so a lot of the leelas or leelas are the stories that we tell through dance when we're studying Kathak, is actually from the scriptures and from the stories in those scriptures. So yeah, a lot of it was religious. Um, but I use the same method when I'm choreographing for other dances, be it Bollywood or contemporary. I think I use the same sort of method in any case
To put a storyline to.
together.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's beautiful. So do you have any like favorite choreographers within Kathak in any other genre?
So I have a favorite choreographer. I think currently my favorite choreographer is Matt Stefanina. He's a hip hop dancer. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. I really love hip hop. I think it's so beautiful and so different to what I do.
Yeah, it is very, very different.
Yeah.
It is different. So what drew you to Matt Stefanina?
I think I watched a few interviews of Matt, and I think he's often talking about, or not talking about, but he's often taking dancers that are kind of the underdogs and giving them the opportunity, and I kind of like that. I really like that about him, and also from a choreography perspective, I think. I mean, we had a discussion earlier, and you mentioned that he does a lot of choreography for social media.
Yeah.
And while I agree with you there, and I mean, a lot of dancers do it. Social
True.
media is
Yeah.
a big part of
Where things are going now, it's the easiest way to get whatever you are doing out there.
out there,
Yeah.
and it becomes easier to for other people to watch and
Yeah.
learn, and to kind of someone like me who's inexperienced in hip hop as well. But there are a few performances of Matt's where it's just he's just performing from his heart.
Yeah.
And it's not a he's being true to himself, and I
Yeah.
think those are the performances
It's not
that
a
are
moment
really
of flashing what I can do, but a moment of
how I'm
this is me.
feeling.
Yes.
Yeah, and how I'm feeling, and I think that's the performances that I really love
No,
about
because
him.
I like I mentioned as well that he is very, as a dancer, he's a great dancer and he's professional in his own right.
Yeah.
I think with the misconception with me when I watched any of his videos, I was like, oh, this is cool, because I think at the time I wanted to learn something different within hip hop, because I'm myself a hip hop dancer. So
Yes.
the style that he was portraying was not really in it wasn't interesting for me to be like, oh, this
And
is
maybe
so
not
cool.
even very different from what you already do or can do.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think at the
Yeah.
time, as much as we all grow and we learn and we learn and we learn and we learn, the stuff that he was doing was really cool, because I've seen pieces of his where it's like just difficult, and I'm like, how did you do? Because I notice a lot of things. I notice a lot of things, and I think the smallest detail,
The
I'm
intricacies.
like,
Yeah.
how did you do that? Why did you do that there? Why did you choose that part of the
Yeah.
music? So with him, I do respect him as a dancer, 100%.
Yeah.
I think at the time for me, it just didn't interest me to be a Matt Stefanina fan, because when I first um, was surfing YouTube, he was like one of the first names that popped up a lot of the times, and I was just like, who's this guy? Who's Matt Stefanina? He keeps popping up on my timeline. Who is
Yeah.
this guy? So I eventually just clicked on the video and I was like, oh, this is so cool. This is like entry level, intermediate type of choreography for anyone that would love to learn hip hop and still look cool and
Yeah.
or feel cool. If I say look cool, because a lot of beginners don't look cool when they do hip hop. I'm one of them when I started. Man,
I
it was
was even
scary.
worse.
It was scary. Wait, did you ever take a hip hop class?
Yeah, I did. I actually, after the show, I decided, let me build up this courage and take a class with Sheldon, and it went all wrong.
It went all wrong.
Yeah.
What
Hip
what
hop just makes use of all the muscle groups that I never used previously, and I don't know.
but if you think about it, Kathak is actually something that because I believe that every dance genre or dance form prepares you for the next. For example, you said you were doing footwork, you're doing like speed
Yeah.
type choreography, and you have to be graceful, right? So with hip hop, you have to be fast in some places. You have to
There's footwork
yeah,
involved.
there is some footwork involved as well.
Yeah.
So somewhat you are not how can I say new to the element, you're just new to the choreography and the type of style. Because I
100%.
always say whenever I teach anyone and I teach them a piece of choreography, they're like, oh, this is so fast, this is hard. And I'm like, it's not hard. The only thing
It's
is
just
you
different.
don't know it.
Yeah.
You just don't know the routine that I'm teaching you. That's the only thing. Then they're like,
Yeah.
huh. Then I say, just slow down the music in your head, as weird as that sounds. I'm like, just slow down the music. Try and marry your brain to your body so you can actually align with the music so you know exactly what to do and when to do it.
Yeah.
So what I'm basically saying is don't give up on hip hop.
No, I haven't. I haven't. I think at the time there was just a lot going on, so I haven't really given up. I think, Sheldon is another choreographer
Yeah.
that I admire a lot, and his attention to the sound when he's choreographing just amazes me. Um, but yeah, I'll give it a shot. I just need to kind of work around it.
Just kind of need to work around it. So
Yeah.
I know you mentioned Matt Stephanie now. Is there any other favorite choreographer that you have within Kathak that nobody might know of?
I think Kumar Sharma is a um, very awesome choreographer.
Is it a he or she?
He,
Oh, he. So did he also study the same type of art form?
it might have not been the same school of Kathak, but it
Not
was
yeah.
definitely Kathak. Yeah, and so he's a part of a dance group called the Kathak Rockers,
Where,
where
where are they from?
they're in India, and they've taken their Kathak Rockers around the world just because they've been choreographing Kathak, and they've been using the Kathak beats in Western dancing,
Oh,
and so they've really made you know,
they formed something that you like doing, which is integrate a lot
integrative
of
stuff.
things,
Yeah,
and then make it something
they made a
completely,
mark. Yeah,
made it something completely new.
yeah.
So if you were to have like continued within the journey of Kathak, would you have gone into that when it was developed within like the more integrative style, or just kept it 100%
I mean, I still
original?
do that now. Um, I mean, with the Sea of Many Rivers, we did a Kathak Bharatanatyam fusion piece, and it was very much the same thing, but it was done differently. I mean, we can't fuse in the same way all the
Yeah.
time. It needs to be different, otherwise it gets monotonous. And yeah, I mean, I still do it today, and I'd love to do a Kathak hip hop fusion and
Which you
Kathak
didn't you
belly
didn't
fusion.
you
I
didn't do
haven't,
one of those.
I haven't yet
Oh, okay. So
gone into that
there's
space
some new spaces to be
to be
explored.
explored. Yeah,
Oh, that's
exactly.
so cool. That's cool. So I know you mentioned that you danced very young. So when you were in school, did that like help you in school to like be popular, or like help you get out of your shell as like
Yeah,
an introvert?
yeah. I think dancing definitely helped my social aspect a lot. But I think as a dancer and even as a kid, I've always wanted to be different. And I think being a dancer at such a young age and having that the exposure to stage and theater stages especially was a
Yeah,
big deal when I was 8 or 9 years old. I mean, there weren't many kids that were doing the stuff.
that's true. That is
And
true.
so it was something that kind of set me aside or apart from the other kids, and I enjoyed that. It made me different.
So Loki, you were kind of famous at school.
Yeah, at
Loki,
school.
just like,
And
just like,
just
oh
slightly.
guys, Nanz is here. Everybody, put away your dancing shoes. She's here.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
that's
kind of
cool.
thing.
So, was your journey as a dancer from when you started? Was did you have any like rough patches? Or was it just like smooth sailing?
You know, I think because I love dance so much, I can't necessarily say that it was rough. Like I said, my family was very arty, and so because of that, I've had so many opportunities to perform, and I never really had to go and look for an avenue to perform. It was always there, and I
Yeah,
just had to take the opportunity, which I did a lot of the times. Um, and then I don't know whether to call it tough or not, but when I was in school, we auditioned for shows, and I remember we were doing this show at Playhouse Theatre in Durban. I must have been 12 years old, and I got the part in the show, and rehearsal started at 2 p.m. in the afternoon and would run through midnight
at 12.
at 12. And it was a show that was to run over 6 days, and And yeah, and at the time, I mean, now that I look back at it, maybe it was tough on a kid
Yeah.
at 12. But when I was doing it, it was just, I don't know, it was just fun. It was just
Yeah.
the
It
life
was.
that I wanted to lead, you know? It was
That's
just
so cool.
everything I wanted to do.
Was there any like issues with like your parents like being it's too late you can't go?
Not at all. I think because they knew it was a safe environment and it was something that I really love doing. And I'm very lucky,
Yeah.
you know, that they've supported me all those years. And I mean, even today, they support everything that we do. Um, but yeah,
That is so
it must
cool.
have been tough, but I don't remember it being tough.
You just remember the fun parts
The
of the
fun
whole
parts. Yeah,
process.
yeah, and there was no time to do homework or, you know, study for a
I
test.
mean, if you're finishing at 12,
Yeah,
when are you gonna be
no,
doing any homework? Or
there's no time. I mean, there's no time to. My mom used to. My dad used to have to take me, finish work early, fetch me from school. My mom would have prepared something for me to eat in the car on the way to rehearsal or the theater.
yeah.
I'd eat, I'd rehearse, I would. Mum would then again send food, my dinner in the car with my dad. I would eat dinner on my way home. I got home, I'd shower, and I'd sleep. I'd
So
wake up at 6 o'clock the
so
next
how
day.
did you balance school and dance
Well, homework got done in the car
on the way to?
on the way to school in the morning. And, or I'd get to school and say, hey guys, haven't
I
done
need
my
help.
homework.
I need help, guys.
Please.
Like all of us. I
Yeah.
remember those days. We're
That,
like, I missed my assignment. Can you please borrow me your work quickly,
please.
quickly? I'll try and make it seem like I did it myself.
Exactly. It was that. And also, like, if there was a test, and I'd be like, okay, guys, you know, teach me quickly. Like, tell me everything we need to know for the test. Just tell it to me. And somehow I would remember.
That is so cool. You have
Yeah.
such like a sponge for a brain.
Well, at that time I did. Now, maybe not so much.
So I know like you saying you they would teach you and stuff. Did that affect your grades at any point?
I don't think so. I mean, I wasn't somebody who paid much attention to my grades. And they obviously weren't bad grades
Yeah.
because my parents didn't put much pressure on me either. So you know, school for me was smooth sailing. I won't lie.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Because I know I probably wouldn't have done any of the stuff. Because at the time at my high school, there was like a few people that like danced and stuff, which is actually funny. The one of the groups that Sheldon was, I think he either started or was a part of, came to our school and was like doing like a showcase.
Yeah.
So they would showcase and they would dance, and I'm like, that's so cool. I never ever thought I'd like be a dancer, and I'm like, that's so cool. I never thought of like trying to be a part of a dance group because I wasn't that child that would like ask for things like
Yeah.
I'd be like, Mom, can I go and dance or can I do this and that? The most I've done in high school was play sport, was soccer, cricket. I think I did chess at one point as
Yeah.
well. But anything in that regard where it would like make me take my focus away from school because I also wasn't like a real like academic student. Like my grades were okay,
Yeah.
but arts I think I was more inclined with anything artsy because I when I got to exposed to like this whole world of a dancer, I was like, this is cool. Then I did research on like various crews on hip hop
Yeah.
on YouTube. I would like watch their videos and I would just try and learn what I'm seeing. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this is so cool. I can't do most of the stuff, but I'm like, let me try.
Yeah.
And then later on, I met like a few classmates. I think I was in, I think grade 11 or grade 10. And then one of my friends was a hip hop dancer and I never knew.
Sure.
And then one day he just was like, yeah, no, I have rehearsals and stuff. And I'm like, what do you mean? What rehearsals? No, I dance. And I'm like, bruh, we've been friends for how long now? And you're not telling me this. You're only telling me now.
Yeah.
And then, funny enough, when I finished, I think it was, I think I was in matric. I was like, okay, you know what? Let me try. Let me give it a shot.
Yeah.
I went to my mom. I'm like, can I go dance? She's like, no. I'm like, but I'm
Why?
finishing.
Yeah.
I'm finishing high school. She's like, yeah, finish. And then you can do
Dance.
whatever. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. And then I finished. And then the next year I went to Sheldon's school because I've been there quite a bit. I would be like that awkward kid. I'd come there and then just stand and watch them dance. And
Oh
just
my
be like-
gosh.
and they would be like so awkward and be like, what is this kid doing here?
Oh.
And I'm just like, I'm just taking in just by watching.
You
Just,
sound like an introvert like me.
I think I may have been, but I probably didn't know it.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know. Probably, yeah. I think I probably was one.
And you grew
Because
out of it.
yeah, because I know that for at that time when I would go and watch, I never knew anyone. I think I met Sheldon because I used to dance for my youth group. I used to dance for them, and Sheldon knew my my then dance teacher, which was a part of the
Youth
youth
group.
team. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and they actually danced together in the same crew that Sheldon started back in the
Oh,
day.
wow.
So then I saw Sheldon, which is was like, I was like, whoa, that's so cool. I remember this guy, because there was a time in our community hall they had like this showcase where there was b-boys and they were just like putting on this spectacle, and then it was funny enough. It was around the time when I found the movie You Got Served. It's a hip hop movie,
Yes, I know it.
and there's a guy short as Sheldon wore the same type of attire that Sheldon wore on that
Yes.
same day.
Yeah, yeah.
I went to that event and I said, "That guy's here." I'm like, no, that can't be. And then I just, because he break just the way Sheldon did, everything just looked the same. I was
Yeah.
like, this is so cool. Then when I started dancing and things like popped off, and I later on told Sheldon, you know that you are actually the reason why I started dancing. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, bro, I came to I think it was either Be Supreme at the time or Freeze Frame, one of the two.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I watched you and you reminded me of a guy from
The
You Got
dancer
Served.
from the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from the movie. And he was like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, like you gave birth to not only teaching me and like guiding me and like making me understand a lot of things of like the dance industry, but the fact that you actually gave me that, like, whoa, this is something I want to do.
That's
It might,
amazing.
and I actually tried to do breaking, but I was like, what if I break myself instead of breaking the moves, and I just break my own bones? So, but then I was like, you know what? Let me try. Let me see what can happen.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like any other person that follows this type of career choice, you have those people that say, yes, you can or you can't. Did you have like people that told you that, like, why don't you stop doing this and just go study and like just get a job? Like, did you have people that said that to you?
No, I don't think I've ever come across somebody. I wouldn't have entertained it firstly.
Definitely.
You know, as far as I'm an introvert is concerned, I'm very straightforward at the same time, and I'm very decisive about what I want. And yeah, it's not a conversation I would have entertained. I mean, I when I chose to study dance, it was a decision that I'd made and I thought about, and I wasn't going to turn back.
Oh, definitely. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Because I remember there were so many people that said, you know, why don't you just stop and just dance and just like get a job? And then years later, they're like, oh, I saw you on TV. Keep going, man. You're doing the right stuff. And I'm like, mm-hmm. 5 years ago, you were telling me that I needed to stop.
Stop, yeah, find a job.
Yeah. And then just be safety or be safe. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people love the safety net. Not that I'm faulting anyone, because everyone has different things that they need
And different needs
yeah,
also.
different responsibilities as well. Because at the time I think I was maybe, I think 14, 15 years old, maybe even 16. No
Yeah.
responsibilities. I could do
Whatever
anything,
thing,
and
yeah.
I could do all I wanted to do and not have a care in the world about
Yeah.
any responsibility. So I definitely understand.
Hmm.
So I have a question. This is obviously just in base of what gave birth to the whole podcast, but what gave birth to the Sea of Many Rivers?
So, the scene of Many Rivers that we did in 2019 was the second time that the Sea of Many Rivers was
Wait,
done.
so you had two?
Yeah. So, the first time the Sea of Many Rivers was done, it was in 2006. It was my second year of varsity. I was all of 19 years old. And yeah, it was I was part of a student group called the Hindu Student Society. And in my first year, that is.
Yeah.
And we found out that, you know, I kind of learned that every year they do an annual cultural show. And I was part of it in the first year, and I loved it. I loved what they were putting together and just dancing on a stage,
And just being there.
being me. And And the second year I was elected as the president of the society.
That's so cool.
And
So when you gave the idea the first time, did was everyone so like eager to jump on the idea of the Sea of Many Rivers?
so I'm actually not sure. To come to tell you the truth, I have no idea whether anybody was in or
Yeah.
out or whatever. But um, I pitched the idea, and I don't think anybody kind of, even me, I don't think I fully understood what I was getting
Yeah.
myself into. And so, because I was studying drama and maybe was a part of that whole stage thing for the longest time, I think they kind of just went with it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
And the name is very, very, very interesting. Like I when I first heard the name, I was like, that's such a cool name. How did that come about? Was that like a spur of the moment type of situation?
so the name was actually coined by a friend of mine who sat on that executive board of the Hindu Student Society at the time. His name is Kyashan Pillai. Um, he's a very deep kind of character,
Mm-hmm.
very thought of character. And I remember the one day saying to him, Kyashan, I'm really looking for a name for the show because everybody had like, I mean, the shows prior had very simple one word type of
Yeah.
names of the show. And I
Like
wanted,
Adele or
yeah,
Beyonce.
yeah, exactly. And I wanted it to be different. I mean, my whole aim in my life was to be different, and I wanted nothing less for the
Mm-hmm.
show. And so I explained what the concept was to him, and the concept was obviously to bring different genres of dance onto the same stage. Also, the fact that there were so many different societies, and each of them existed in their own capacity. And
Sort of like a keep to your own type of.
yeah, and I felt like if we're doing a show,
Mm-hmm.
why not? Let's use this as an opportunity to bring everybody together.
So they can become like one
One.
people.
We are
Yeah.
one university
Yeah.
after all. We're not
Yeah.
separate, individual sectors. So let's come together and see what we can do as a whole. And yeah, so Kyashin had come up with the Sea of Many Rivers, and when he said it to me the first time, I thought, well, I had to sleep on it because I wasn't sure what it meant. I mean, he's this deep thought of character, and here I'm maybe not so deep
Yeah.
at that stage, all of 19. And I took a few days to think about it, and as time went on, I learned to appreciate it. And today I have a lot more appreciation for it
For the
than
name.
when it was done initially, and I have a lot more understanding and love for it. But yeah, that's where it comes from.
That's so cool. So when you did the one in 2019, was that a obviously as creatives you want to up your previous whatever you're doing, whether it's your music or dance or a production. So was the next one that you did in 2019, was that the the level that you were satisfied with, or are you still?
We can always up our level.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, the one in 2019 was definitely an up from the first one. In the first one, remember, we were all students and none of us were professional or really had a grip of what we were doing. We were merely experimenting. But the second time around, when I sought after choreographers, these are choreographers that have been dancing for many years already. They have established dance schools. Um, they kind of shared the same vision as me to a very large extent. I mean, from the last couple of interviews, if anybody's
Yeah.
been watching, you'd gather that we all kind of follow the same sort of mindset. We have a
Yeah.
similar mindset, and yeah, so it was definitely an up in the standards of performances in what we did, and obviously a lot more integration with
Yeah,
the
a
dancers.
lot
What
more.
is I wanted, but when I initially thought of the show, The Sea of Many Rivers, I wanted it to unfold like a story. I wanted it almost like a Bollywood movie.
Or like the classical Bollywood movies.
Yeah, I wanted there to be song and to be acting and for there to be dance. But in the first one, we didn't really have
Yeah.
the right people in
Mm-hmm.
place. The second time around, it was super rushed. So there wasn't even time to get somebody to write a story. I
Yeah.
didn't have somebody to write a story or someone with acting skills. There wasn't just enough time to kind of
Yeah.
sort that out. And so we just still went with the dancing aspect. Although we included a little bit of music,
Yeah.
maybe it was a little bit disjointed to the show itself. Not disjointed, maybe it didn't flow as nicely
Yeah,
as I would have
as you would,
liked
yeah,
it.
as you would wish.
Um, yeah, and so yeah,
So
but it was definitely an up to the first one.
so the first one that y'all did, because you mentioned that in the second one there was various choreographers and stuff. So with the first one, was there one sole choreographer for the entire production, or was it just every person that's in a certain group or certain number, and then they just all created something to put on stage for the first one?
Yeah, so I gave the opportunities to the various different societies, the Mapansula society that joined. I mean, I gave them the ability to just choreograph their
Yeah.
pieces and come in. I gave them the platform
Yeah.
then to perform. For the Hindu Student Society, I didn't know another choreographer at the time, so I did a lot of the choreography because that was my major at varsity in any
Yeah.
case. So I did a lot of the choreography for it. And then we also brought in different universities because around Eastern Cape there was still University of Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University in
Okay.
NMMU, as well as PE. So those different faculties came with their own choreography, and we
Okay.
just kind of put the show together based on that. Whereas the second time around, we had an idea of what we wanted.
Yeah.
There was more integration and a lot more fun.
A lot more fun. So again, with you in college now, you busy doing all of these great shows. Did your popularity go through the roof again? Because I know in high school it went. Now it's.
I wasn't, I think by this time, I didn't really care. I don't know. I can't tell you that I was extremely famous or
Yeah.
not. It's not something that ever bothered me. I think it came as, there was a stage in my life maybe where I felt like that didn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, it's all good and well. You dance and you're popular. I mean, it doesn't really take you anywhere really. Um,
Well, and the time, because I would assume that social media at that time was not what it is now.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. And I soon, I was very young when I came to the realization that when I dance, I'm dancing for me, not for you, not for the audience. Yes, yes, when you put on a show, yes,
Yeah.
you're dancing for the audience, but when you're performing, you need to be true to who you are as an
Definitely,
individual. And it's
definitely.
not really about who thinks you're popular or who thinks you're
Yeah.
good or, you're
Because
just
if
dancing
you
for
if
you.
you think that way, it's gonna be a very very short-lived career, because
Exactly.
you can find that you have a lot of people that don't like you. Just as like an example, and now
Yeah.
you're like, oh, people don't like me. I'm rather gonna stop dancing because they don't like me.
Yeah, and I think it filters to the larger life lesson where, you know, instead of
Trying to find people's approval, you
yeah,
just
find it within
yeah.
yourself. It's instead of making other people happy, you first need to make yourself happy.
Exactly.
And I think I learned it at a very young age, and that's something that resonated with me throughout my life.
That's so cool. So, is there like an idea for a third one?
Yeah,
A
I
third,
think
the Sea of Many Rivers, the
yeah,
big baby.
from all the conversations that I've had with all the choreographers and yourself, I feel like I feel like we need to still justify the show.
True. Well, now, because you mentioned that the second one you wanted to do acting, sort of like how it unravels
Yeah.
like a Bollywood movie.
Yeah.
So now you kind of have a a starting point, because once you start there, you can then see what else you can add into it.
Yeah, exactly. So the first thing I'm very appreciative this time around is I have the time to
Yeah.
kind of conceptualize it better.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I feel like we have so many more people.
Yeah, there's so many. I think, yeah, like you mentioned, the first one you didn't have many people on the project. Second one you didn't have time. Now you have both.
Now
You
I have both.
time and people.
So no excuses
Yeah,
of creating
no excuses.
a really good show. So yeah, I feel like I have all the right people. I feel like we have all the right dances. And I feel like we're all resonating the same thing. We all want the same thing out of it. And I feel like because we're there that we can create something big together because we have one vision.
Yeah.
And so we can create it together.
So, I know you mentioned that your dad is a music lover. Your mom used to sing as well, and for yourself, you love music as well. I'm assuming.
I'm crazy
'Cause
about music.
I heard you were a professional bathroom singer.
Of course.
And anyone else, I mean, there probably is a lot of those ones that love Mariah Carey in the bathroom and just break all the glasses, shatter all the windows,
All the windows,
and
yeah.
just go at it. So, within music, a little birdie, I feel like it's yourself and many other people, heard you always speak about this glorified group of young men that love their music, and you also came to love their music as well. Who are they?
So they are boss men.
Boss Man. That's such a boss name.
I know, I love
Boss
it.
Man.
Yeah.
The Boss Man. Oh, it's not the, it's just Boss
Boss
Man.
men,
Okay.
yeah.
Where are they from?
They're from Pakistan, in Lahore.
And the type of music that they do?
So it's various genres of music. Um, it's various genres. It's contemporary. It's I don't know. It's just
It's
amazing.
just they just versatile in their craft.
Very, very
very
versatile. Yeah.
So how did you first find out about them? How did you come across Boss Man?
Um, so I think I've mentioned before to you that I start my day with Gregorian chants, listening to Gregorian chants in the morning.
What is Gregorian chants?
It's music that they kind of play in Catholic churches.
Wait, so it's like, okay, let me take a stab at it. So you know when you watch Frozen, and then you have those animated characters that stand up with robes in the beginning. There's no music. It's just
Exactly that.
so that's
Yeah,
that.
that's that. That's what it is.
Why do you listen to that in the morning?
I feel like it's something. It's music that makes me feel close to myself.
Or it
That
brings
brings
you
me
it
back.
brings you to yourself.
Yeah, brings me back to myself and kind of I makes me collect all my thoughts and yeah, it's something I enjoy listening to.
And you were listening on what, like
YouTube?
on YouTube?
Yeah.
Or is that how you came across Boss
Man.
Man?
Yeah, yeah. So I start every morning listening to Gregorian chants, and at some point in the day, so I listen. I know that I start listening to Gregorian chants in the morning, but what plays between Gregorian chants until I find a piece of music that I like, I actually don't know.
It's just
It's just music playing
it's
in
just
my.
random music.
It's random music, and it's just music that keeps my brain going. I feel like I need to listen to music to
Yeah.
for my well-being, for
Yeah.
my mental function.
As I would assume a lot of people do too. Like a lot of people
Yeah.
would find music being so helpful. Like example, like I've I've come across a lot of people that don't really speak English that use like music to teach themselves how to speak English.
Yeah.
So for you, like you're saying, it's to bring yourself to yourself.
Yeah.
So I would
To ground myself.
So it's so that's how Boss Man.
So Bossman, one of the songs just auto played, and
What's the name of the song?
um, it was Mustafa Lakho Salam was the name of the song. It was
What does that mean?
I'm not really entirely sure, to be very honest. But it's a religious song, and it was released during the time of Eid, and yeah. So it was really beautifully rendered. It started off like a Gregorian chant. So at the back of my head, I was thinking, and it was a singer that was it's Atif Aslam that was singing in it. And at the time, I was thinking, oh my God, there's now an Indian form of Gregorian
They
chant.
tapped into it. They didn't just stay in their lane. They
Yeah.
bringing it to us.
We've integrated Gregorian chants into, some
Yeah,
Indian style
yeah.
of singing. So that was my thought process, and I never really looked at the video that was playing on YouTube, and a few songs, many songs that played afterwards. And during my lunch break, I'd gone back and I'd looked for the
You
song.
looked for the song.
Yeah, and
that tada, Boss Man.
and
And
the rest is history.
The hunt continued.
And it began.
And it began and
Yeah.
continued.
Yeah.
And how many within the I would say their repertoire of music, do you have like favorites, or is it just like all of them are favorites?
So I really like all of them. I won't lie, and it's very difficult for me to pick a favorite. But if I had to, I think Ali Pervez Mehdi would be my favorite.
Is that one of the singers?
Yes.
Oh, wait, didn't you interview someone with the same?
Yeah.
Was it
no,
his
it was
brother?
him. No, it was Ali Pervez. So,
Oh.
so the band was created by two main artists. It was Ehsan Pervez Mehdi.
Oh, that's the brother.
Yes, that's the brother, and Noman Javed.
Oh, Boss
Yeah,
Man.
Boss Man. So,
Did they? I don't know if you got like time to speak to them, but do you know how they came with the name?
I'm not entirely sure. we should find out very soon um, how they came, or the details of how
Oh,
Bossman
how
came
Boss Man
about.
came. Okay,
Yeah.
well, stay tuned, guys, because
Yeah. There's a lot
there's
coming.
a lot coming.
Yeah.
Also, for those that know what the name of that title of the song means, please comment down here. Let us know what it means so we can get up to speed because I don't want to be left in the dark. We all trying to we all trying to get to a place where we learn new things and we just like how can I say like learn about each other's
Yeah.
cultures
Come
and
together.
understand what things mean.
Yeah.
It's just easier that way. So if you would do me a solid, please drop it down in the comments below and then just let us know.
Yeah.
Cool. So when if have you ever wanted to ever be in like the music side of creativity? Because I know your dad, he writes his own music, he sings. Because I think one of the interview you had with him, he mentioned that he wrote a song for your daughter. So did some of those genes fall onto you and like you're like,
Yeah, I think growing up, I was involved in music a lot. I used to play the harmonium and the keyboard, and I used to sing as well. In fact, on my dad's first album, I'd actually sung.
your dad has an album?
He's got a few, um, but on the very first one, I was 9 at the time, and yeah, I sang
That's so cool.
on it, and I didn't quite like my voice.
How is
I actually never really quite liked my voice. I up until very recently, actually,
is this because of the concert that you have every night?
because I've been bathroom singing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your bathroom
I've upped my
concert.
skills now.
You've gone from Mariah Carey past Whitney Houston to a whole new
A new
Nanz,
level.
a whole new level.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man. So, in all of everything that you've ever done, and what you wish to do, where's that next? Where's the next step for Nanz and anything that you have in mind?
So the next step in general, or the next step for the podcast?
Well, this is in general. Then we'll come to the podcast.
Okay, so in general, I think I found a new love for doing shows and conceptualizing new ideas, and I love the idea of putting shows together.
Being behind the scenes.
Being behind the scenes and also giving other artists the opportunity to kind of showcase what they've
Yeah.
been up to and what they can bring to the table and how we can make things differently. And so going forward, I think that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be investing a lot of my time in conceptualizing shows and putting shows together.
Is it gonna be like a series, so to speak, from the Sea of Many Rivers, or will it just be various?
So if we do Sea of Many Rivers, it would be the third time.
Yeah.
I think we must close the Sea of Many Rivers there. I think we must do it and finish that idea, like really exhaust the idea.
Yes.
Yes, the idea of integration and that will still continue in every other show, but in a different way. I'm looking to do things differently. And so hopefully we can bring on professional musicians as well as professional dancers and actors, and we can create different things. I
Yeah,
want
and
to
just
be different.
make it a whole, like you say, a different.
Something completely different.
Completely different.
And also, I'm very big on experience, whether it's my own personal experience or experience for other people. Just to leave, when people come to watch a show, just to leave them with an experience, an unforgettable experience. So that in the years to come they can reflect and maybe think, oh well, that show was really good.
Yeah,
And
especially
something that would stand out
yeah.
in their mind.
Especially if they like, when are you gonna do another one or something
Yeah.
to that degree?
Yeah,
where it's
something
like,
to really look forward
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
No, that's so cool. So then I guess it works perfectly with your favorite choreographer, Matt, that
Yes.
opens doors and provides people with the experience to express themselves holistically.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Bossman does the same thing actually.
Really?
Yeah. So the whole Bossman platform was created so that different artists were given the opportunity to then showcase their talents. So Bossman does videos, music videos. So the artists would come to Bossman with a song, and it would get filmed. They do a video, and the video would be directed then by Numan Javed, and the music would be done by Esin Pervez Mehdi.
That's so cool. So
Yeah,
and then
it's an awesome
yeah,
initiative.
that is really awesome because like the respect for people that use their platform not only for themselves but to help others
Other people, yeah.
because essentially every single person that's ever been in the creative space has always had someone that gave them a chance,
An opportunity,
that
yes.
was like, okay, you uh, here's an opportunity, here's something, and then let's see what you can do. So for them to be doing that is so cool.
Yeah.
It's like it gives a lot of people the hope of, I can actually chase this and have somewhere to go and try and make the song
Yeah.
that I have in my heart or in my head something great.
Yeah,
That's so cool. I
exactly.
never knew that.
Yeah, it's an awesome initiative, and I think that's why I
Yeah.
like them so much as well.
That's so cool because
Yeah.
it's not just the music; it's the fact that
That they're doing
yeah
something
that
for the artists, you know.
they're trying to change the narrative of what the music industry looks like.
Yeah, currently.
Within Pakistan or just holistically. 'Cause
Yeah.
I feel like if a lot more industries does the same thing where they do this not just as a promotional pack for like how they would promote their business
Yeah.
just so people can know them, but to actually keep it going, that more people would be like, oh, I can go here, 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 here. If I don't or just want to be here, I can go to this platform and that one or this one.
Agreed, and also it gives the younger generations an opportunity to then maybe see art as a career.
Yeah.
And I think that's the end goal, you know, for a lot of people who are able to give people an opportunity or artists an opportunity. I think that's where it comes from, to make sure that, you know, the forthcoming artists are not left in the position that maybe you started in. And yeah, it's all about about
yeah,
betterment
yeah, and opening up doors for many people.
for everybody.
So I know you've loved for the amount of years that you've been on.
Yes,
the
let's not say
earth.
how
No,
many.
I'm not gonna say how many. I'm not even gonna ask how many.
Thank you.
Because I don't know how many.
Yeah, you don't
For
want to
the
know
amount
either.
of years of experience that you've gained, whether it be personal or in the creative aspect, is there anything you would say to anyone watching, like the younger you, the teenage you, and the 20 you? Would you say anything to, if you were like be speaking to yourself, what would you say to that person?
I'm not sure. Maybe be more courageous. I think I was, as an introvert, you know, you've got to like really work at yourself over the years, and maybe now I've reached that point. But I think, you know, I wish I'd been more braver and taken up more opportunities, because the opportunities were definitely there. Maybe I could have
You could have just
been more
grabbed them and
courageous,
see
and just
where that take you.
yeah, yeah,
No, that's cool.
be
Well,
more risky.
be more risky. Cool. So about the podcast, where is the next step for the podcast? Because I know this is your first baby, with many more to come.
To
But
come.
what do you have? What's next?
So next we will be speaking to boss men.
Wait, so are they coming here or you going there?
Hopefully we'll go there.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, stay tuned. Please hit that sub so you don't miss whatever is gonna happen. Are you gonna be interviewing all of them or just
I would
selective?
love to interview all of them. I think, you know, they're really versatile group of artists that I truly admire. I think each of them has a special story. Each of them have actually started individually. The band's made up of about between 7 and 10 members. But I think each of them have had an individual journey and have come together to create Boss Men.
So individually, were they all like known within the industry or just
Not
upcoming?
Not all. I think there are a lot of them that are quite young, that have joined the band. But I mean, Numan Javed has sung for Bollywood, for example. So has Ali Pervez Mehdi. So they've had a history,
Yeah.
and a proper musical career, and not many people. I mean, from my conversations with people here, not many people seem to know them as
Yeah.
artists and what they've done. And so I'd like I'd like to bring that to the forefront. I'd like people to know who they are and what they've done and what they've achieved. And yeah, and let's see where that goes.
Are you excited?
I'm super excited.
Do you finally get to meet your favorite
Yeah.
band boss man?
Yes, yes,
Cool.
finally.
Thank you so much, Nanz. This
Thank
has
you.
been a absolute pleasure. Not just getting to interview you, but to actually put this platform on, not only on social media, but bring it to life and give you what you desire, which was to interview the people that was a part of the Sea of Many Rivers. So from me and the entire team, we want to say thank you so much
Oh.
for entrusting us with not only your brand but your vision as well,
Thank you.
and just being so wonderful. Like, your hospitality is it's
Yeah.
literally amazing. We really appreciate you, and thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Monty. I think from week after week you come and create the set, and it's just so amazing. It's been so amazing with everybody, and it's been such an awesome experience getting to know you guys too. And we've had so much fun together, and I can't wait to make more memories with you guys. So thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely, because this is not the end.
No,
It's
definitely not.
the end.
Yeah, it's
Well,
just the beginning, actually.
It's just the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that was that. This is the finale episode of the Sea of Many Rivers podcast edition. So please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please hit that bell and the sub button so you don't miss any uploads. Because if you do, you're gonna miss out on the awesome trip that they're gonna be having, going to Pakistan, or greeting bossmen when they arrive at the airport. If you don't press it, you're gonna miss it out. So don't miss out.
Thank you for joining me on today's episode. This series of interviews has been an incredible journey. Stay tuned for season 2 of Podcast with Nanz. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment box below, and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, as well as Spotify. I'll see you guys next time.